Oh, grovelers. Hello, grovelers. Let's have a quick drive-in chat. What do we want to talk about? We want to give you guys some cold hard truth. Drop some truth bombs. Truth bombs. Yeah, everyone thinks they're dropping truth bombs. Just go on YouTube. They're all over the place. Most of those people are, it doesn't even matter whether it's about golf or not. Anytime someone says, well, the reality is it? Maybe. This time it is, though, guys. This time it's really true. Let's talk about the golf swing, developing your golf swing. If you want, I don't advise trying to change your golf swing. It's really hard, frustrating. You probably won't succeed. You'll probably make very little progress. You may go backwards some. You may have the results that you get in improvement per time spent may be the inverse of what you were looking for. I hope that's not the case, but it can easily be the case when you're trying to change your golf swing. It's easy to do more harm than good. I guess you could make an argument that even if you weren't using very good technique, just beating balls, you'll get a little bit better at using that poor technique. So maybe there's something to that. But if you want to actually make dramatic improvement in the functionality of your golf swing, then you have to understand the correct underlying philosophy. And the reality is, see, I just did it. It's just hard, tedious work. It's not a matter of you do some research or you float around YouTube or Instagram or wherever. Okay, guys, this is the dangerous part. Cross merging. I'm going to the left while people behind me are trying to go to the right. I made it. It's just, change your golf swing is extremely hard work. And the hard work only pays off if you're working from a foundation of good knowledge. And it is not sexy. It's more fun to think about finding a cool little nugget on Instagram or wherever, and you just think of what that means to you. You may not even be translating. You may not even be decoding what the guy's saying. And the guy may not know what he's talking about. That's highly likely that the guy doesn't know what he's doing. Your source, bad sourcing, the source you're getting the information from may not know what he's doing. He might. I mean, there's some really good stuff on Instagram. There's some really good stuff on YouTube. There's some terrible stuff on YouTube. And just your ability to determine the difference between good information. Or it might be good information that doesn't apply to you. Applies to somebody else that's doing the opposite of you. So there's all kinds of problems with it, right? Nothing really quite replaces having an instructor in person that knows what they're doing. That's why it's expensive to do it that way, because that's the best way. Where they can put their hands on you and they can give you immediate feedback, right? They can just steer your course much more rapidly, much more effectively. Online lessons are better than nothing, but you send a swing, they give you a few things, you try to do it again, you send them another swing, they go, well, you didn't quite do this right, and you got to do that, and it's just a much slower process than if someone's sitting there and just and course correcting you in real time. But it's more fun to think about, hey, I can just sit here in my cube on my lunch break and surf Instagram, and I'm going to find some cool little nugget. And that can happen, but it's really rare. And even if it's a good piece of information for you, it doesn't mean that you know it, that because you suddenly know it intellectually, that you've somehow infused it into your knowledge base, that you are then automatically going to apply it to your motor pattern. I mean, this is where the work begins, right? It's not, oh, I got it, I can go play golf tomorrow better. No. It's, okay, I got a good piece of information, now I have to go apply it to my game. Now I have to go inject it into my motor pattern. I got to reshape the direction the electro something chemical signals are going. That I got to change the path that those fancy electrochemical signals are traveling from my brain to my muscles through my central nervous system. And that's a lot of hard work. And it's 10,000. A lot of people hear that and they almost like, well, that might be true, but I'm going to ignore that. Or it's so depressing to hear that number, 10,000, that it makes you not want to even embark on the whole process of changing your swing. The truth is, you can get through a high number of repetitions pretty quickly if you're diligent and you have the time and resources. If you're working on something specific in your swing and you're trying to make it so that it happens naturally without you consciously thinking about it, if you're serious about golf and spending a lot of time beating golf balls, you can get through it in a couple months. But it's a couple months, for sure. More realistically, even if you're relatively avid and you're really focused and concentrating on the right things, if you want to make your golf swing operate in a fundamentally new, different, better way, it's probably a 2 or 3 year process. And when people hear that, they're like, no, I don't. And they don't believe you. You know, most of the people I talk to about the golf swing are like, I think I can do it. I'd like to, hey, man, I'm going to practice on a simulator this winter. I want to get this stuff all squared away so that when I can go outside in the springtime, start playing some golf, I need to have this locked in. I don't have 3 years to do this. And I mean, if going out there and playing without thinking about your swing is important, you probably don't have time. But then you shouldn't probably try to make big changes in your golf swing. You should look for other places to improve your game, whether it's something like Decade or Arcos or managing yourself on the golf course better, or working on the stuff as you get closer to the green where the mechanics behind short game shots in terms of motor pattern development are less sophisticated and take probably a little bit less work. You know, and you're working more on the speed, the delivery of the speed of the club more than the actual, you know, geometry of the club and the dynamics and the sequencing. It's just obviously it's if you're hitting a 30 or 40 yard pitch, that's no cupcake to learn, but it's less complicated than trying to change your driver swing for sure. But that's the reality of it. And the way it works is not that, and usually it's not even that you find a nugget, because what are the chances you find a golden nugget in your treasure hunt? Like in terms of mining for gold, let's use that as an analogy. So you're not going to just go pan a stream and then get a big juicy nugget all polished up and ready to rock and roll. No. It's more like, what's the word for it? Is it like, well, it's the stuff you see on that, like everyone knows about the show Gold Rush. I think that's called like placer mining, or it's a word that sounds like that. And basically they just move a bunch of dirt and then they filter the dirt through these big machines, right? To pull out little tiny specks of gold that, you know, after 2 or 3 weeks of moving thousands of cubic feet or cubic yards or of dirt, after they've already gotten to the level where the gold's likely to be, they got to move a bunch of dirt just to get to the level where they're likely to find little pebbles and gold dust, basically. And then they go through a filtering process, a big machine first and then a little machine afterwards, and machines break and the cost of gasoline goes up and the weather doesn't cooperate, and it's a long, really expensive, tedious process. But if everything goes right, you can have quite a bit of gold at the end of the season, right? It's kind of the way changing your golf swing works, right? You're trying to filter through all the information you're getting, and you're trying to apply it to your golf swing. It's a very long, tedious, but nuanced process that if you don't like beating a lot of golf balls, is not going to be fun. Now, if you're a range rat that just likes the act of hitting a lot of golf balls, like if you're not a guy, like most people just want to go play golf and have fun and shoot better scores. they're not willing to put the work in to actually make their swing action more efficient, faster, more precise. So just the idea of beating balls for 3 or 4 hours, that idea sounds tedious. It's like, I don't want to go do that. I want to go play 9 holes or something. I'll try a couple things on the course, Okay, yeah, you can. And if that's the process you enjoy, great. But you're not going to change your golf swing doing that, right? Even if you think you're doing something that feels different, I guarantee you, if you put it on video, it's not that different. So I'm not saying that the occasional swing thought that you stumble onto that feels a little bit different doesn't allow you to hit the ball a little bit better suddenly. Probably not going to last. It's probably not going to have the same magic a week from then. Because a lot of times what happens is maybe you've stumbled onto something that might be slightly better, but, and I wouldn't call it necessarily a placebo effect. I mean, if you try something, you hit the ball better, you're hitting the ball better. That's not placebo. But what can be happening is that you try something new, you hit a couple solid, and it gives you this confidence that you found your little nugget of gold. And it's that confidence that allows you to hit the next couple better. But that does peter out, I promise. And that happens for tour pros. And it happens for amateurs. It's the same. Because it's just a human being swinging a stick. It doesn't matter if you're shooting 66 or 86. Obviously, the people shooting 66 have tighter dispersions, less deviations, higher speed, more precision. But it's the same phenomenon. It's not different. And that's why if you're a tour coach and you're giving a lesson to one of your tour players in your stable, you're going through the same process that you do with Mr. Havenkamp. It's the same thing. You get the same kind of silly questions. You get the same kind of bad assertions. You course correct the same way. It's just you're course correcting with greater precision, but the course corrections are smaller. But it's the same process. It doesn't matter who's holding onto the golf club. So, and it's just a bunch of tedious hard work, honestly. And you just really have to love the grind. And if you love the grind and you're working with the correct information, then your golf swing will fundamentally change over time. And after 2 or 3 years, your golf swing can actually not only look different by you trying to make it different, but it'll look different without you trying to make it different. And that's the distinction, is that you don't try to think of anything consciously in your swing, and I'm just gonna hit the ball like normal. And it's like you compare it to a video from 3 years prior to that, and you're like, wow, that's a different thing. That's fundamentally, discreetly different from what I used to do. And I'm not thinking about anything consciously. It's just happened. It has become a part of my motor pattern. So that's how that works. That's always going to be the way it works. There are no shortcuts. There are never going to be shortcuts. The information that you'll have access to over time gets better because the measurements have gotten better. And a lot of times when the whole feel versus real argument, and the people on the internet that are instructors that have the gear to take the measurements that are any good, one of the main differences is there's 3 basically phases that it's gone through. It's like first 2D video, which started showing up late 80s, early 90s. So just visually looking at a 2D video screen, it's like, oh, okay, I tried something different. It doesn't look that different, right? So I'm getting some feedback of what I actually generally look like. Then there was motion analysis, so 3D. So what am I actually doing? So instead of just being a little bit misled by a particular viewpoint in 2D, whether it's the butt view, the down the line view, the up the line view, the face on view, diagonal from one of those, some combination of those views. There's instead 3D, which is actually where it is in 3D space and how fast the parts are moving. Like where exactly are the parts, the club and me and my arms and hands, and in speed and position, what's happening. And then there's the kinetics. What are you actually doing with your muscles, your central nervous system, to make the club do the thing that's being measured, right? All right, I've got to order my double-double. Hold on a sec. I'll be back.